Right now, the threat of a wider conflict in the Middle East carries the risk of a severe global energy crisis. As regional hostilities continue to flare, the possibility of a contained dispute spiraling into an international emergency grows by the day. To Western observers, the recent disruptions to vital maritime shipping lanes look like sudden, unprovoked aggression from Tehran. But inside Iran, the highest levels of government strongly reject that framing. They argue they are not instigating a conflict at all, but are instead a sovereign nation forced to defend its borders against aggressive foreign actors. This posture is built on a harsh reality at home. For decades, everyday Iranian citizens have been living under immense economic pressure, enduring severe, wide-reaching international sanctions that have restricted access to global markets. To understand why a diplomatic resolution seems so impossible right now, we have to look past the current headlines and trace the tension back to one specific structural collapse. Decades before the current standoff, the United States actually provided the foundation for Iran's first nuclear infrastructure, supplying early reactors under an initiative called Atoms for Peace. Today, Iranian officials insist their modern program is strictly for generating electricity and conducting medical research. They point to their membership in the Non-Proliferation Treaty and a binding religious decree, a fatwa, issued by the supreme leader that explicitly outlaws the development of any nuclear weapons. In 2015, global powers established a framework to guarantee that peaceful intent, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly known as the Iran Nuclear Deal. This chart shows the core metric. In exchange for sanctions relief, Iran agreed to cap uranium enrichment at 3.67%. This precise baseline keeps the program operational for energy, while remaining far below the threshold for weapons-grade material. International nuclear watchdogs were granted extensive access to safeguarded facilities, and they consistently confirmed that Tehran's compliance with these strict limits was flawless. By the spring of 2018, the diplomatic framework was holding exactly as designed. The inflection point arrived in May 2018. The Trump administration unilaterally withdrew the United States from the agreement and immediately reimposed a campaign of maximum economic pressure against Iran. Tehran didn't care up the agreement right away. They spent an entire year waiting for European nations to compensate for the sudden economic damage. When that relief never materialized, the calculus changed. Arguing that they could not be bound by a treaty that offered no tangible benefits, Iran began a step-by-step rollback of its commitments. They deliberately stepped over the previous enrichment caps, moving closer toward higher-grade uranium. Inside their research facilities, dormant equipment was brought back online, physically accelerating the very nuclear capabilities the 2015 deal had successfully contained. Meanwhile, the standoff bled out of the laboratories and into the region. American and Israeli forces increased coordination, utilizing military outposts across neighboring territories. From Tehran's perspective, they were actively boxed in. Facing this threat, Iran targeted the Strait of Hormuz, invoking international law to secure the maritime choke point in self-defense. Every action Tehran takes today, from firing up advanced centrifuges to asserting control over shipping lanes, is explicitly framed by their leadership as a measured, proportional reaction to that initial treaty violation. While American politicians have frequently claimed that a bruised Iran is begging to negotiate a new deal, Iranian leadership flatly rejects that assessment. Their diplomatic posture is not about making concessions to the West. They demand the restoration of their sovereign rights, the unfreezing of blocked national assets, and the lifting of all unilateral sanctions. As long as the diplomatic collapse of 2018 remains unaddressed, the underlying catalyst for regional instability is still active. Sending additional naval strike groups and heavy weapons into the Persian Gulf does not force Tehran to back down. Instead, it confirms their belief that they are facing an active, unprovoked siege. War is exactly like a fire. If it is not extinguished at the source, it will naturally expand. Until the international community acknowledges the origins of this standoff, the cycle of escalation will continue to burn.